Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. This is going to be a bit of a rant. Now, I produced a program about an hour or two ago. I put it together, and it's my opinion. It's an opinion piece only. But, I'm entitled to my opinions. But the thing is I didn't post it on this particular channel, and the reason why is because I don't want it demonetized, and that's what it would be. It would be demonetized. So I posted it on my other channel. I'm going to put a link in the description so you can go over and watch it. All you got to do is click on the link, And anyway, I got to keep it fairly on the level on this channel, And this is I can't reflect my opinions too much on this particular channel. I have to keep it more newsworthy and more straight to the point, And yeah, I can ramble on once in a while. This is a rambling show. Because it's a rambling show, I might get this one demonetized, But that's okay. It's 50-50, It might be demonetized, it might not. I'll go with it. Anyway, listen, guys. We are in such a mess in the world right now. Quite seriously. And most of the mess has to do with mismanagement of the financial system over a great extended period of time. And the fact that they didn't let it fold in 2008. They should have let it complete doing it. They should have let it do its job. When the system started to melt down in 2008 they should have let it melt down. Let these banks take a loss for their inept, instead of bailing all these banks out, let them all go down. That's what they should have done. The system would have completely collapsed. Would have been an enormous crisis. I dare say, is an awful lot of Americans, it would have been worse than the Great Depression. Magnitudes worse than the Great Depression. But instead, they've kept the system going by expanding credit. They've made the problem that much worse. And I don't want to sugarcoat it for you guys. This is a terrible mess. It's going to take a strong president to just keep us to the point where our electricity stays on. This is how bad it could get. So, you guys out there, I seriously want to admonish you guys. While the going's good right now and things are pretty good, most of you have your homes. You got a closet in your home, right? That you don't do anything with. It's one of those closets when you open up the door, you're scared to open the door because everything falls out. Most of that stuff in there's junk. Take a weekend, take a day you got off, get a little bit of time off, go and clean that closet out. Take all that junk to the dump where it belongs. All those old baseball bats and stuff that you got in there, like boxes and books from Aunt Martha, and stuff like that. Clean it all out. Spick and span that closet. Then go in to your local grocery store, buy some bottled water, toilet paper, dried foods, canned foods. Buy a little medical kit for yourselves, right? It might not be a bad idea to get yourself one of those portable batteries that you use to run electronics and stuff. They're a battery that you can use them to jump your car too. They got jumper cables on them, and they got a little power inverter on them that'll turn it into AC power, and it'll run your phone for a few days. It'll run your maybe run your TV for a little while. It'll run your computer for a few minutes. That might be all you need to get online, find out what's going on if there's some sort of a crisis. It might be all you really need to And, I'm not talking right now for the big-time preppers out there. who already have a whole garage full of whatever, and they've got everything put away for themselves, and, they've been ready for years. I'm talking to the guy who hasn't made any preps yet at all. To the people out there who go into the grocery store and they just buy enough food to last a day or two. You know who I'm talking to. And you don't have any canned food at home. You don't have anything at home. You got no way of even charging your cell phone if the power goes out. Completely unprepared. Those are the people I'm talking to right now in my audience, is the ones who are completely unprepared. Clean out a closet. Bottled water, buy it on sale. You can get it cheap. You can get those little bottles. They're like 500 milliliter or quart-sized bottles, water, and put away a couple boxes of that for yourself, enough to last a few weeks. If you're completely unprepared, these are the ones I'm talking to right now. And put away fill that closet. Fill it. Because it was full before anyway, and that stuff in there was junk. Fill it with something you can use. Shut the door on it, and then you've done your job. Then wait. Because if we run into this crisis, quite literally, it could get as bad as Venezuela. This is how bad it could get. The United States could look like Venezuela, and you could be going hungry. Everything closed. That's how bad it could get. We're going to get through this, folks. It's going to be rough. It's coming very fast down the pike. It almost gives me chills how bad the financial system is right now. The shaky conditions within the financial system. And you know what? More and more it's looking like Deutsche Bank could be the trigger for everything. She's just stumbling along right now. She's just staying over €6. I said the mark was at €6. She started to go below. I think she went 5.95 was at its lowest. Went up a little bit. Deutsche Bank, just because it's went back up to like 6.25 doesn't mean it's out of the woods. There's been nothing to happen with Deutsche Bank. I'm expecting a fall off even to a lower level with Deutsche Bank. Deutsche Bank could trigger the whole system going down. Among a whole lot of other things. You throw a war into the mix, and who knows which way things will go. That's a very unknown quantity, exactly what will happen, if that happens. And it's pointing more and more that way every single day. You gotta be prepared, folks. Really. I don't think essential medical services will be cut off. I don't think the electricity will be cut off. And I think your grocery stores will still have food. But it might not be the food that you want. If you take a look at Venezuela during their crisis, you go into the grocery store and you don't have a selection like you have now because half of the trucks are gone. They're not working because maybe banks foreclosed on them or whatever. And you got few choices. You go in that day and there's a whole big row of just sloppy Joe mix. So you got to have sloppy Joes. You don't have a choice of what you eat. So say we come down to a situation like that where all you got is the grocery store sloppy Joe mix and say spaghetti noodles or something, You go home and you have to cook dinner. Well, now you got your closet full of food. You've got better choices. That adds to your choices, see? So even if we don't completely go into some sort of a Mad Max scenario or anything like that, still, it gives you more of an edge where you have something where you've got a little bit of a safety net. That's what it provides you with. It doesn't cost that much. Buy the kind of foods you normally eat anyway. And it's especially important about water. And let me explain to you why. It's especially important you put the bottled water away for yourselves. Let me explain why. Humans can go 40 days without eating anything. Nothing. Just water. Go 40 days. After 40 days, then you're risking starving to death. After 40 days. But 40 days is quite a long time. It's over a month. You can go over a month without food. Without dying. No real extreme harmful effects. Not good to starve yourself that long, but you can go that long. But without water, you won't last for more than about 2 or 3 days if you don't have any water to drink. Now, I know that more than likely you will be able to have water to drink, but you don't know for sure. If the power does go out, and I mean, let's take a look at these power outages that just happened, like just in the last few days down in South America. Huge parts of the grid going down. And this is in good times. What would happen if crisis occurs? Enormous crisis occurs. You got to get prepared. You also got to make a plan where you know your neighbors, and kind of a community plan where you can come together as a consensus. But listen, don't tell your neighbors about your closet full of food. Seriously. Or you won't have your closet full of food if the crisis comes for very long. Because they'll all say, Jones has got a nice closet full of food. We know about that. You know? When they're going hungry. Well, you know how it is, the fight at the front of the parking lot to get the closest space. That's just so they don't have to walk an extra 8 or 10 feet. What would they be if they're hungry? Really hungry. And you're the only guy that's got cans of Sloppy Joe. Anyway, got a real crisis coming. The math determines that this crisis cannot be held off indefinitely. They held it off from 2008 up until the present right now. And those were the best years of being able to hold it off. Now they've got much less tools to work with when it hits again this time. And it's going to be much harder to hold it off. It's going to take much more extreme measures to hold it off for a much shorter period of time. And also, the crisis is actually going to start to hit while they're holding it off. It's going to be intensifying. So what I should say about that is, right now the Fed's deciding to cut rates. Right? The Fed's going to cut rates. Well, that's what they used to hold off the crisis last time. It's not going to work this time very good. It's not going to have near the effectiveness that it did last time in 2008 when they cut rates. If they do go to quantitative easing this time, it's going to have about 1/5 or 1/10 of the effect it had back in 2008 when they had quantitative easing. Nothing's going to work very good. So they're going to have to do more stimulus, bigger stimulus, brighter stimulus this time. That's going to lead us into the crisis much faster. All it's doing is the whole thing is accelerating. It's like a quickening. It's like a quickening of this. And this can't be held back because of math. Now, we hear much talk about a reset coming. The reset is going to be into hard money again. Now, I can't tell you exactly what form that hard money will take. The Facebook was thinking about making some hard money that was pegged to fiat money. But I'm not so sure now if they're going to be allowed to do that, because they're going to have to get approval from the powers that be in order to do that. So we're going to have to wait on that and see if they can get it through. But we already have hard money out there. Hard money that's waiting to accept all of the bad money, the value of all the bad money. And the bad money will just keep going down. And when I say bad money, what I'm talking about is fiat. Fiat currencies are bad. They're inherently bad. They're the reason why we're in this mess. They've been mismanaged. And they're going down. Very soon. The money, the wealth that's stored in fiat currencies is going to be transferred. It's going to be a transfer of wealth. And that's what the reset's going to be. The reset is going to be the old fiat monetary system dying all of the debt dying with it that's attached to it, but all the value dying with it too. So when fiat dies, it's going to be a wealth transfer that's unimaginable, because all of this stuff that's here, the houses, the real estate, the companies, the factories, the workers, everything is still here. It'll still be here. So the value that's stored in the dollar right now will still be here. It's just going to be transferred out of the dollar and into new asset classes. Now, I wish I could tell you exactly what asset class it's going to be transferred into you. Some of you guys out there right now are screaming, gold, 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 gold. Others are screaming, Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. You know? I don't know. It's hard to actually say until this crisis hits. Then we're going to see what asset classes that the value and the wealth is transferred into. But it's not going to stay in fiat, because fiat's dying. If fiat's holding all the wealth right now, it's going to be transferred out into these new asset classes. Now, I have my personal opinions on what asset classes are going to actually receive the wealth. I think it's going to be a combination of cryptocurrencies, gold, and silver. And I think it's going to be primarily gold. I think gold is going to take the biggest lion's share of the wealth. It's going to be poured into gold. And of course, we're talking about trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars pouring in to a tiny little narrow door, which is basically gold. Tiny, tiny little market. It's going to grow exponentially. So, in buying power, now a lot of these guys out there, they estimate how much gold will be in dollar terms in the future, and they say $5,000 an ounce or $10,000 an ounce. What they're actually trying to say is it'll purchase, an ounce of gold will purchase what $10,000 will purchase now. But by the time the future comes and their prediction time comes true, $10,000 might not buy nothing or very little. It might not even buy an egg. See? So what you have to figure in is the hyperinflation, or the profoundly high inflation that's going to come in on these fiat currencies that's going to transfer the wealth out and into these new asset classes. So you have to kind of figure, what will gold buy? What buying power does it have? And I figure gold's going to go to about the equivalent of what right now you could buy for $10,000 per ounce. That's where I figure it's going, ultimately in the end. I think that's the final saga of this. And gold's going to be the biggest recipient. I think the next biggest recipient is going to be Bitcoin. Well, right now, you can purchase about, 6 ounces of gold for Bitcoin? I think it's going to stay something like that. So you want to know what a Bitcoin will buy? In the future, it'll buy you 10 ounces of gold. Or 10 ounces of gold will buy you a Bitcoin. Roughly. More or less. But by that time, by the time we get there, 10 ounces of gold, 1 ounce of gold will buy what right now you could buy for 10,000 US dollars. So think in your mind, think a really nice used car that's almost new. 1 ounce of gold. So Bitcoin is worth, this is what way I'm kind of thinking it's going to go. You know what I mean? But it could go higher. They could both go higher. This is just an initial prediction from a man who's on this side trying to predict what it's going to be like on the other side. And it's very hard to predict. But I believe the dollar is actually going to go all the way to zero. And we're not talking about just the American dollar. We're talking about the Canadian dollar. We're talking about the Australian. We're talking about the euro going to zero. Listen, thank you guys for listening. Like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys in the next show. Bye-bye.